Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you a few lavender projects that I like to do. I hope you guys enjoyed that drive-in. Going to lavender farms is something that we do every year the first week of July. I think we've been going for the last 4 years or so. I love lavender so much, and it's so versatile. You can cook with it, you can bake with it, you can make wreaths with it, you can make soap with it. There's just so much you can do with lavender. And my whole entire family, we love it. We all have lavender in our home. We have it in the garden, we have it inside the house. If I don't have a candle going, I usually have my diffuser going with lavender in it. And I also love it when I was doing my undergrad, I always use lavender just to kind of help with all of the stress and anxiety from exams. So anyways, there are three projects that I wanted to share with you guys today that you can do yourself with either your lavender, or if you have a lavender farm near you, or you can just buy dry lavender and do all of these projects yourself at home. So let me show you what we've got going on today. Okay, so the first lavender project we're going to be doing is going to be making soap. This is so simple, and we're going to be doing the melt and pour method today. So we're not going to do the complicated cold process, which is really fun to do as well, but that just takes a little bit longer. I always love making soap, and it's a really, really easy process. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to melt our soap base, and today I'm going to be using goat's milk. It's what I've used in the past, and it's what I like. And I just did a double boil. You can melt it in the microwave as well, but it took me like 10 minutes just to melt it this way. So the soap, the base that I got just comes in bricks, and I'll link everything down below for you guys, other than the lavender. So what I did is I melted it already, and I'm just kind of using a whisk because it does kind of set fast. So you kind of have to work a little bit quickly with this project. So we have our soap, we have our dye, and then we have our lavender. I have some dry lavender that I actually harvested from my garden about a week ago. And then we have some essential oils. So these essential oils are ones that I got at the lavender farms that we visited today. These are from Mountainside Lavender. And I got the Grosso and the Fulgate. So I forget which one, but one of them has kind of like a honey scent. So delicious. Let's see, so that was the Fulgate. The Grosso kind of smells a little bit sweeter. Okay, let's go with the Fulgate. So I have about a pound of melted goat's milk soap base here. So I think I'm going to do about 10 to 15 drops, and I think that will be good. It was probably a little bit more, but that's okay. And so I'm just going to stir that in. Cover this guy back up. Now I did make a small batch of ones that I didn't do the dye in. I just wanted to show you guys what that looks like without it being dyed, because some people just kind of like the white colored soap, which is totally fine. But I did also get this soap dye. So I'm just gonna go slowly with this because a little bit goes a long way. So let's just start out with 1 drop. I can already see a little tiny tint. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 total. Little bubbles. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit more. So we did 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. I really want this to be purple, actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what was that, 15 total? So I'm just gonna stir that. That's perfect. It's just like a very light lavender color, just what I'm looking for. So we have our oil, our dye, we have our soap. Now we're just gonna pour it into our molds here. So for this, I'm actually going to pour this in here. It's just a Pyrex measuring cup. It just makes pouring a little bit easier. And then I have the molds right here. Oh shoot, you know what? We forgot to add the actual lavender. Ugh. So I actually like to add the lavender into my mix just because it's a natural exfoliant. So it feels really good in the shower. So I'm just gonna add, I don't know, maybe about half a cup, just like that. That's perfect. And I like to use dry lavender when making soap. I just think it's a little bit cleaner, it's a little bit easier. And if you're gonna be putting it in soap like I just did, I feel like the texture is a little bit thicker. So I can feel it exfoliating a lot better than like fresh lavender. Okay, perfect. Okay. So I have these just basic little pink molds, and there are honeybees all over me right now. And then I'm just gonna pour it in to each one. Just like that. Perfect. It's a little messy if it gets dry, but that's okay. It's just soap. So I have that. And then you want to top it off with a little bit more lavender. And I think that just looks really pretty when it's done drying. And it takes like just a couple of hours to dry. I like to leave it overnight, just so it really settles. And I just kind of shake it a little bit so there's no air bubbles. And it's as easy as that. Your own homemade lavender soap. Let me show you one that I already did. Okay, so here's one that I already made, and it's set and ready to go. And what I like to do is just take parchment paper, something really simple. You don't need a lot to make this look pretty. So I just like to take a little bit of parchment paper, like that. And we'll cut it. And I want this to look homemade. I don't want it to look perfect. I'm gonna do that. Okay, take a piece of tape, tape the back. Oops. Just like that. And then you want to take a piece of twine and I like to go just make a little loop, and then I'll just tie a really simple little bow like that. And then we'll take some lavender. Let's see, we'll take maybe like these pieces, just like this. That one's too small. Cut it all to size. Maybe one like this. And there you have it. Isn't that just the sweetest little gift? And it's so easy, and you made it yourself. I love this. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is make a lavender wreath. So let me get my things and then we will get started on that. Okay, so for the wreath, it's gonna be really simple. I'm gonna start off with this wreath form that I picked up at Michael's. I've had this one for a while, so it's a little bit bent, but that's okay because we're gonna be covering it with lavender anyway. I don't know if you guys watched my container or front porch container videos, but I did a lot of white and and just like light yellow tones. So I didn't want to go with something too purple because I didn't want it to clash, because I will be hanging this wreath in my front door. So I think I'm going to be using the Head Coat Pink lavender today, just because it's a little bit lighter purple. It's kind of got this like silver tint to it. And it's probably one of my favorite ones. And so I got a bunch of bundles of this guy. So the first thing I like to do is prep work. I think doing prep work is makes these projects go by super, super fast. So to make it easier, I'm gonna make small bundles, smaller bundles that are easier to form around the wreath. So let me go ahead and do that first. Cut them off like that. So I'll just make small little bundles, just like that. So I'm gonna make a bunch of these first. I'll be using floral wire to hold these little bundles together. You can use rubber bands too. Okay, so now that we have all of our bundles, I'm just going to make my first loop around the wreath, and this is what's going to hold it together. So I just kind of like to weave in and out. Okay, so you just want to make sure that's super tight, and I'm just going to go around a couple of times, just like this, just to secure it. Perfect, just like that. So now that we have our florist wire secured, we're gonna take bunches and we're just going to overlay them on top of each other this way, and we're gonna go in one direction. So we're just gonna lay it on top of each area of the wreath, just like that. And you want to overlap, that way you're not having any gaps in between. If you do have gaps, that's okay, we can always fix it in the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of do one first, and then we'll kind of speed this up for you guys, so I can show you the last project. So you know what, let me cut this in half. There we go. So just like that. And then the next one, I'll overlay it just like so, and continue on going all the way around in one direction. And then we'll kind of fluff it in the end. Okay, so once we get to the end, we're just going to, again, we're gonna take smaller little bundles, and we're gonna just tuck it in that first one, just like so. And then again, we'll go in with our floral wire. Just like that. Okay, and actually I'm gonna cut this off, and then I'll just tuck in one here, and maybe this skinny little guy right in there. Let's see. Okay. Just like that. And then again, I will just wrap my wire around. And then I'll just tuck it in the back, just like so. And so I just tuck it and kind of twist it around the existing wire. I know it's probably like impossible to see, but you just twist it around one of the rings. So now you have to check to see if everything looks even. The reason why I like to make bundles is because it's really easy to fluff them out when they're like this versus if they're in a bigger bundle. For me, it's just a little bit more challenging. So what I like to do is they're in smaller bundles, and I'll just go and fluff them ever so slightly, just like that. And then if there's any areas that need an extra bundle, then what I'll do is, look at this mess. I'll cut a piece off, and then I'll take smaller bundles and I'll just tuck it into the areas that need it. Just like so. And then I just make sure it looks even. And there it is. I love an open ring like this. Sometimes I know I get carried away and I'll do like a thicker one, or I can add some flowers to it, but I love just a simple big ring, easy peasy, just like that. You can also go in with some French lavender, which I think would be really beautiful if you don't mind purple in your entryway. And for this, I wouldn't even use the florist wire. I would just take one by one and then just tuck it in just like that, in areas wherever you want that pop of color, or you want it to look a little bit more wispy. So just like that. And this is fresh lavender and it will dry out. I usually like to make mine with dry lavender, but I didn't have enough in my garden that I wanted to harvest to do it. So I'm using fresh lavender, which is fine because I've done that too. And for me, I don't like to reuse the wreaths like this. You can just store it in a bag when it's all dry and bring it inside after summer. Or what I like to do is I'll take each little bundle apart and then I will harvest the lavender and make sachets, which is our next lavender project. So let me get this cleared up and we will do that. Okay, so our last lavender project is probably the easiest, and it's one that I use and do most often. So when we go to lavender farms, I like to go to a place where they have different varieties of lavender. So the first farm we went to was Mountainside Lavender, and I believe they have about 3 acres of field where they grow lavender, and I think they have about 24 varieties. So I got a lot of English lavender. I love this Hitco pink like I mentioned, and then I also like this French lavender. Now I can always tell a French lavender from an English lavender just because an English lavender is a little bit more fluffy and it's the flower cone is it's like the same width, where a French lavender it kind of tapers off and is a little bit skinnier at the top. So, and it's usually longer too, which is nice for certain projects. So I like to do a mix of both. I think it's just, I think every lavender kind of has their own scent. And so I like to either do just a combination of French and English, or I'll just do the English or the French by itself. So it just really depends on, what you like. But for this project, I do like to dry them out first. So before I talk about that, I did want to tell you guys about the second farm we went to, which was Barn Owl Farm, and we go there often. That's where we get all of our lavender plants from, and I believe she grows like close to 100 different varieties of just English lavender. She has just a beautiful selection of plants. Her and her husband just have the most beautiful farm, and that's just one of my dreams. And I think, you know, I know we're going to do it one day. I really want to have a lavender field like that. Probably not to that extent. But as soon as we, you know, we can get more land, that's definitely something we're going to be doing. Just because we love lavender so much. So anyway, so for the sachets, I think it's best to dry the lavender first. So what I like to do, I'll make little bundles just like this, and then I will hang it upside down in a closet. So it can be anywhere where it's dark and not too humid. And so I'll just hang them upside down. I'll tie them to just a hanger and hang them there for, I don't know, maybe like 10 days or so, and then they'll be ready to harvest. So what I'll do is I'll just pull back little chunks like this. And actually I have my mother-in-law help me. She really loves to do this. She loves lavenders as much as I do. So she's a super great help when it comes to doing projects like this. So anyway, so that's what I like to do. And I have some here. This is just the lavender that I've harvested from my own garden. So you can see it's nice and dry and it's easy to work with. And even though when it's dry, it just has just like the most beautiful scent. It's like sweet, and I don't know, I love it so much. And if you ever feel like your sachets are losing their scent, you just want to squeeze them a little bit or kind of rub them, and it'll kind of release some of those, like the oils in there, and you'll be able to get the scent out again. So I like to just use these tiny little sachets, and then I'll just, let's see, let me not make a mess. I just fill them all the way up, just like this. And I keep these in our sock drawers. I keep this by our pillow, on our nightstand. When I was an undergrad, I used to carry these in my backpacks. Just whenever I was stressed, I would just take mine out. And they're just like such a cute little gift too. So you can make a whole little lavender basket gift for your friends or your family. So anyways, this is just a really sweet and really great way to just kind of have when you want something to smell really good. In the car, especially because when it gets really warm and our car is really warm, I just come in and it just smells like fresh lavender. It's delicious. So also, in the time that it took us to do those other two projects, our lavender soap has already started to set. Still a little bit warm, but let me see if I can pull one out to show you what it looks like. Yep. So you see, it's already set and ready to go. Isn't that just so pretty? Like, we pay so much money for these soaps at the store, but it's such an easy and inexpensive thing to do at home. So I hope you'll try it. And if you and if you have in the past, let me know what you did differently. Like I said before, I love to learn and get ideas from you guys. So let me wrap these guys up and then I'll go hang the wreath. All right, guys, well, that's it for today's project. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me to my favorite lavender farms here in Oregon. I think it's always so fun, especially during the summertime, to go out to these places that are open right now and, you know, you support them. I think buying like fresh lavender is just like the most delicious thing to do in the summertime. And it's just a tradition that we've adopted for the last 3 to 4 years. And we love it so much. And I hope you guys found some of these projects inspiring. If you've done any of these or if you have other projects that you do with lavender, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And I will link down below the lavender farms information that we visited today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.